Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and today we're going to talk about some reasons to leave a plant behind at the plant store, reasons you should not buy a plant. I have to preface this by saying that if we ever go plant shopping together, I am going to be the first person to tell you to buy the plant. So if you're wanting to save money or just not add to your collection, don't invite me plant shopping because 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna say, just buy it. But when I'm in my logical mind, I'm able to see things a little bit more clearly and look at these types of purchases with a little bit more wisdom, if you will. So let's get started talking about 5 reasons why you should avoid buying a plant. But the first being, it just feels too expensive for you right now. So I'm gonna be the first to say that I have spent a little too much money on plants sometimes, and that definitely is a regret of mine in certain cases. In other cases, I was really happy that I spent what I did, but the reason that I felt comfortable spending the amount that I did was because I didn't buy the plant literally the first time I saw it. So one of my biggest pieces of advice to you is when you see a wish list plant in person, the price doesn't feel right, but you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna see this plant in person again. I have to get it now. If I don't get it now, someone else is gonna get it and then I'll never have access to this plant again. Okay, that's called a scarcity mindset. And that's typically used more in business and life development, but it also happens with plants. And I want you to know that none of the plants that we are collecting, even if they are called rare, are not actually rare. There's a few that definitely are, and they should not be a part of people's collections. But generally, if a plant is considered rare in the houseplant industry, it's probably not, and they're just saying that so that they can charge more. It's kind of a way to create hype where there isn't, and I've noticed this for as long as I have been collecting houseplants. So honestly, if it just feels a little bit too much to spend on the plant, then I say pass it up, because I really would hate for you to spend that much on the plant and then a few months later you find it for less than half of the price, which will probably happen to you a few times in your houseplant collecting time, and it's fine, it happens. But I would really love for you to minimize that by just not making those quick impulse purchases all the time. Of course, there's going to be some times where it feels worth it because you've done the market research and you know that this is the best price that I can get right now. But if you haven't done that and the price just feels too high, I say leave it behind. You will be able to find it again and probably at a better price, I promise. The second reason to not bring home a plant is if it has a pest, because you're risking the health of your entire plant collection by bringing in this one singular plant that is infested. So one of the best things to do to avoid doing this, and I have to say it happens a lot without us even knowing, but it's even worse if you are aware that the plant has a pest and you still bring it home, okay? I'm just saying, I just wouldn't do it. So especially in larger nurseries where plants are very tightly clustered together, pests are very, very common because it's extremely hard to keep an entire greenhouse pest free, especially when plants are moving so often. Oh, we just lost the sun. Sorry about that. Camera will readjust. Anyway, when you have hundreds, sometimes thousands of plants to water and take care of and keep happy, a lot of the time pest infestations can just go crazy without the nursery even knowing or having time to check. So what I would suggest is if you are looking at a plant that you want to bring home, take your phone flashlight and put it up to the leaves so that you can actually investigate it, because sometimes pests are really hard to see, and greenhouses obviously have great lighting, but there's nothing like a phone flashlight to really bring out the spider mite webs, you know? This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to building your brand and growing your business online. Now, I've talked about Squarespace quite a bit on my channel, so we should all be familiar, but if you've never heard of them, they are the platform that I have used to create my website and also the website for Potted Together, my podcast. I have no experience with web design on a serious level, and Squarespace has made this so easy to create beautiful websites just by using their drag and drop templates, These templates are really beautiful and there's so many to choose from. And all you have to do is choose your template and then edit all of the elements. If you're wanting to start a blog, Squarespace is a really great place to do that. They have really great blogging features with commenting, so you can have like a conversation with people after they read your blog post. They also have email marketing, so if you're wanting to connect with people in that way to let them know maybe about some new blog posts, or if you have a store, you can run your store through Squarespace and you can send out emails to tell people, hey, we're having a restock or anything else, we're having a sale. Things like that. On our Potted Together website, we have all of our merch on there, and we actually were able to connect it to a third party, which was really, really easy and great because we don't handle the fulfillment of our orders. So if you're wanting to promote your business a little bit more online, I think a website is a really great place to start. So you can check out Squarespace by using the link in the description box below, squarespace.com/BeccaDeLaPlants. That will take you to their site where you can start your free trial. And after your free trial, when you're ready to launch your website, you can use the code BeccaDeLaPlants for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. The next reason to leave behind a plant at the plant store is if you don't have a spot for it in your home. So, okay, listen, we go out plant shopping and this is a part of the impulse purchase conversation, but we see a plant, it's the right price, it's the right plant, and then we think, oh God, my shelves are absolutely stuffed. I have nowhere to put this plant. That's a situation where I would painfully tell you to walk away, okay? Maybe not if I was shopping with you in person, because as I said before, I will probably tell you to buy the plant because I want people to treat themselves. But in my logical brain, I'm telling you that you don't want to bring home a plant unless you have a spot that you can put it in. Now, did you need to get out a note on your phone and write down all the empty plant spots you have in your house and then go shopping? You don't necessarily need to do that, but I do suggest doing that. I wrote about it in my book. That's like a really great piece of advice for if you have lots of problems with impulse purchasing plants, especially if you are super new. Look around your house and say, okay, I've got an east window with one spot. I've got maybe like a 4 to 6 inch plant space for this. So then you write that down in your phone, and then when you go to the shop, you say, okay, here's the 4 to 6 inch plants that could do well in an east window. This is where I'm shopping. But generally, we aren't mindful enough to do that, or at least let's say I'm not mindful enough to do that all of the time. So if I'm in the shop and I pick up a plant and I really want it, I will think to myself, where can I put this? And if I can't come up with a spot for it, like pretty quickly, then I'm gonna leave the plant behind, because I don't want to bring home a plant that is only going to stress me out and probably end up dying because I didn't have a spot for it. Because plant placement in your home is extremely important, and if your plants aren't placed in the right spots, they're not going to thrive. I've said this in past videos, plants are not going to change their entire existence of needs just for you. You know, they came from a plant that came from a plant that came from a plant, and all of those plants have the same needs because they all came from the same place, right? We can manipulate our environments to emulate where the plant comes from. And sometimes plants are a little more flexible, but we generally cannot expect the plant to have a 180 in its needs just because we want to have that plant. The next reason to not bring home a plant is if you already have the plant. So I generally, I've got 2 schools of thought with duplicate plants. So generally I avoid having duplicates unless it's a situation where I can pot the plants together and make my older plant more robust. That is a little hack that I have used many times. So that is one thing you can do with duplicate plants. And I would say another reason to have a duplicate plant is if it is just very, very different. So I have 2 Monstera albos and they are just very, very different in the way that they look. And if I was to pot them together, I think it might look a little bit strange. Especially this is important if your collection is already very full and you're maybe even already a little bit overwhelmed, or you're maybe at your cap. Everybody's gonna have different limits on how many plants they can take care of. And as you move through your plant journey, you're gonna know what your number is. If you have lots and lots of space, then sure, bring home the duplicate. If you really like the plant, that's totally fine. But if you're running low on space, I would say a duplicate is not the right choice when bringing home a new plant. And I just realized throughout this entire video, I've been saying 5 reasons, but it's actually 4, because that's all I have in my notes. I've been trying to come up with the 5th reason and I just cannot think of it. I'm interrupting that thought from myself because I am going through and editing this video and I was looking at my notes and I realized that I just didn't notice one of the points. So I do actually have 5, and the last one is this. Don't buy a plant if the seller is giving you weird vibes. Now, this is something that I wish that someone had told me at the beginning of my plant collecting journey, because I've put myself in some weird situations to buy a plant because I either like got to a point where it felt too far in, like I was too far into the conversation with this person to suddenly back out of buying a plant from them, or it came out later on that they are like a sketchy person and like do like nefarious things with people's addresses, and I didn't know at the time, but I did feel a weird vibe and I didn't know why. So if the seller is giving you a weird feeling, maybe they're not wanting to send you good photos, maybe they're not being a very good communicator, maybe just something is off and you don't know what it is exactly, I would always listen to that instinct because there's a reason that we have it. And times where I have felt that and ignored it, I always regretted it. Like, I've never been put in a legitimately unsafe situation because of buying a plant, but I have been put in situations where like I felt like I wasted my money, or I felt like I could have been in an unsafe situation if things had progressed, or if I was, let's say, like unlucky in that specific situation. So definitely plants are not worth putting your safety at risk. They're not worth putting your money at risk. I've heard so many stories of people buying plants from sellers who were not verified or just didn't have like proper credentials, but because they wanted the plant so badly, they did it anyway, and it ended up going really, really badly. So for all intents and purposes, if the person is giving you a weird vibe, whatever that means to you, it's not worth buying the plant from them. So if you have any questions or you have any additional advice on this topic, you know, reasons to leave behind a plant, leave it in the comments down below. I would love to chat with you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and again, supporting me during this time. It means so much to me. Make sure that you're subscribed if you're not already, and we'll see you next time. Bye.